Hi, TJ.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Excellent, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. So, you are a Ram on the Raw show. You are a really authentic man joining us today on the Really Authentic Women show. Because I feel like there's a space for men. Men have a lot to say, and I'm excited to have you. So, I'm going to give a little background.
Okay.
TJ, you were going to work for me. You did work for me for a little bit through the
Yes.
magazine doing sales. And oh man, you were so diligent to learn everything. Like I was like, shit, this man wants to know every freaking facet of it, and this is a great guy. Like it was
Yeah.
just amazing. So I know you in that world of working for me, but I actually don't know the other side of you. So I am going to let you briefly introduce yourself and tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, and then I'm going to go into some questions with you.
Perfect. Well, you know, I'm TJ Abraham, and I'm a peak performance advisor, and I founded an organization called Decision Makers. That was what it was. The reason behind Peak Performance Advisor is because throughout my life, now 60 years, I have done different things. I've been a motivational speaker, developmental coach, all those things. I went and got life coach certified because it was the great terminology, but I didn't like it. I didn't like everybody was doing it, so I wanted something different. So I sat down with some advertising people and we all kind of went, what do you think I do? And they said that my ability to get the best out of anybody I work with was unparalleled, and that they felt like they were being given advice rather than being told what to do, shown how to told how to live their lives or anything like that. They were given advice. So presented with positive options that they could choose depending on what their goal was. And as they chose those moments for their goals, they arrived at them. That was how it worked.
Amazing. Amazing. I'm going to get right into this because
Good.
the time goes fast.
Yeah.
If I was to ask you, what does authenticity mean to you? How would you describe that?
I've been authentic my whole life because I don't have the energy to remember anything that's not. So just be me, be straightforward, live by a certain core values. That was what Decision Makers was about too, that we have core values of honor, respect, and accountability, caring for yourself and others, and sharing all that joy brings you. If you're not making your decisions with those base values, I wouldn't make the decision. And as we started to make that happen, we're slowly creating a community of individuals that are like-minded, and it's a universal message. I wrote a program called 3 Decisions to the Amazing Life You Deserve, and people are now using it for everything.
So I'm going to challenge you a little bit on that because, and I'm only going to speak for me, I didn't know what authenticity was back in the day. Like when I was 19, 20, like I feel like I just know what authenticity is now. Like I'm stepping into my own. So I love that you said that you actually have been authentic your whole life, but has authenticity not changed? Oh.
See right there, see how you,
yes.
And it's pretty straightforward.
Like proper.
Yeah, very strict, very matter of fact. There's certain levels of respect. There's sir and ma'am and yes and thank you and please. And there's never been any other opportunity other than that. So like when I swayed in my teen years, you know, as everybody inevitably does, everybody in my family and everybody around me went, unacceptable, come back here.
So I know a little bit about this, and hopefully if you're not comfortable answering any of this, just tell me you're not comfortable. So you used to be in the bar scene and bartender or
I've done personal security.
Okay.
Like bodyguard work and stuff like that for almost 30 years.
Okay.
So that's where I was. And then when that environment started to have what we refer to as mini gangsters, so they'll just shoot you or stab you for entertainment purposes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is that what that terminology is?
Well, to us, mini gangsters were those that, because we had grown up and we had worked all the rooms with so many of the big dogs, right? That the new wave was a little less than the same perspective. So
you've probably seen a lot of.
I have seen a lot.
Interesting things.
That's why the bio says seen all areas of the human experience. I was a PSW for 10 years too.
Right.
So
I remember that. So okay. So again, given that path that you were on, because you were sort of in that scene, is that what got you drinking on a regular basis? Because I know that you are, I don't know how many years clean.
3.5 clean.
3.5.
It's over, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So what was that experience like for
It's
you?
like an evolution of everything, right? So you're there every night. So you meet all the people that do all the drinking and all the heavy drugs and all those kind of things, and you become the guy because you're the one that lets everybody in or takes care of everything. So next thing you know, you're friends, well, pseudo friends with everybody, and then you're deep in it before you even realize what's going on. And that was bad for me. I have what is commonly referred to as addictive personality. So I have options. I can either be addicted to things that are good for me and powerful, or I can be addicted to horrible things that are catastrophic, and I've been both sides of the fence.
So what was that defining moment for you that you realized you had to make a change and you had to stop the drinking and become clean, as so to speak?
I was watching UFC,
Okay.
had put a frozen bottle of tequila in the fridge, because that's how I have to drink my tequila. It has to be in the freezer for about 6 hours. It's got to chill anyway, so it's syrupy. Drank the entire thing and had no effects. No effects in slurring, anything of that nature. No effects the next day. And yeah,
Your body had just built up this
it had
tolerance.
happened where there was, when you can't reach nirvana, so to speak, but no matter how much you drink, then there's a moment where then you're just waiting for your liver to give up and everything else to give up before it stops. So I just kind of stopped.
You just stopped.
That was it.
That was enough for you to go, whoa, that there's
Yeah,
something going on here.
and by then it was strange for me because I already had the message. This happened about 8 years ago, the message, and then it was weird because I was awakened in the middle of the night and spent about 6.5 hours writing 28 pages of longhand. And then I spent the next 3 years proving it was a lie, and it wasn't. And then I spent 2 years after that guinea pigging every single one of my family and friends so they could use it for whatever they wanted, so anger, whatever they wanted to use it for. And they used it, and then I reached all my goals, and then people started asking,
How?
what's going on? What are you doing? What are you this? And especially with the weight removal, because with decision makers, we don't use diet, stop, quit, or lose, because they're offensive and disrespectful. They don't help you. They don't benefit your life. They don't move you forward. They don't make you feel good. Everything about what we do is decisive enhancement awakens power. So every decision you have a chance to enhance your life and awaken new power. Deep.
Mm-hmm. It's incredible. It's incredible. So if I was, and I'm learning as I'm asking this question that there probably isn't just one answer to this or one aha moment, but what would you say if I was to ask you, what's your most raw moment in your life?
Wow, most raw moment. In the middle of a drug and alcohol episode, was standing in the bank of all places behind an older gentleman, and as he got to the counter, he was fumbling, like just looking for stuff, as they inevitably do. Pulled his 1927 wallet out of his pocket, right? Looked like he was folding out cards, and took it out. And there was a part of me that lost it. Why did you take that long? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? And I looked over to the side, and there was a mirror there, and in the mirror was a lunatic having a full breakdown. And it took me a second to realize that it was me. And I left there and went directly to my doctor, had a conversation with him about, this is what's going on. I'm having excessive mood swings and other stuff. And he was like, we're going to get you talking to people first before we do anything else. And then that was it. Nothing's been the same ever since. Nothing.
That was your moment.
That was it.
That was life-changing for
Yes.
you. Wow.
That was that moment. When you look over and, like, seriously, it looked like a lunatic. They're red-faced, hands clenched, all this stuff for absolutely no reason. I was like, I need to fix some things quick.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So have you looked back on that moment often and thought, I'm never going back? Like you just said, you've never gone back, but has there been those? No.
Lots of opportunity, because like anyone in life, there will be endless opportunities to veer from the path or to go off your direction or whatever, but it's up to you, right? I'm the decision maker, and that's why I was decision makers. That as many things as I had tried, AA and other things, I wanted to be responsible. I wanted to own the whole process. I wanted to know what was going on. And then I started interviewing people about how they would do it. And everybody kept saying the exact same three things. So when I talked to like big guys in the motivation world, they were like, never even thought about it. Like, we can do it with you. So put your hands up.
Just put this back.
Okay? If you've ever said I wish, wave your hand. Wave your right hand. If
My
you've
right
ever
hand.
said I want, raise your left hand. If you've ever said I hope, clap your hands. Okay, so every single individual on the planet, anyone you talk to, doesn't matter age, race, nationality, whatever you want to say, has wished, wanted, or hoped that their life would change. So what I found out was if I could take you from I wish, I want, I hope, to I am, I can, I'll try. Belief, knowledge, attempt, that you would never be the same again.
Wow. Wow. That's powerful.
It is, but it's true though. If you look at it, look at something like when I leave, you'll go through it in your head about something like part of the program is discovery. So to find the piece of your life that you believe having decisive power over would do you the most good. So with me, because I had so many, there was drugs and alcohol and food and anger and self-esteem and procrastination, all of it. We do a thing called the power triad, which means you take your top three and you put them in the triad. And you say to yourself, if I had decisive power over this, how would it affect these? So you'll find your strongest one, and then right after that, you'll find how they directly affect the downward spiral or the downward part of the pyramid, and that's how you do them.
So I can't help but ask, how did you get here? Like, I know all the events got you here, but who taught you all of this? All the courses you've taken?
Yeah, I read as many. What happened was because I was doing events and hosting and stuff like that, that I would go to like speakers, like motivational speakers, and see what they were about and just to see how they controlled the room and what they could make the room do and what they couldn't make the room do and how they looked desperate up there. And I was like, well, I could do this. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to just study. And so I studied and studied. I probably took about 10 years. And I went to every motivational thing I could. I studied under everybody I could. I did every program I could and did it all. And then after about 10 years of that was when I was awakened, and it was like, it all made sense. And so I took it and I went, okay, and I tried it. And because we hadn't fine-tuned it and put the core values in place, it was just an ego-filled tirade. Look what I can do, look how great I am, look at me. Wrong process. So I started over. And I said, okay, if we're going to do this, then there's got to be certain core values in place so that it's not just ego and attitude driven. And that was what was important to me. So every time we've gone back, before I even went to my friends and did it all right, we went back and we kept readjusting. And then when I finally had it all, I did it. Because, physician, heal thyself. I was 287 pounds.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about this. Like, so when you look back at pictures of yourself, do you remember that man? Do you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like.
Because I've yo-yoed.
Okay.
Like, I'm not I've been here before, right? That's probably why I'm not as impressed as other people are. It has nothing to do with ego. When you've been somewhere and then you purposely are the cause of leaving there, then you go back. Like everybody always says, oh, this is my after picture. But when you get a before picture and then an after picture and then your before picture looks worse than your first before picture, do you know what I mean? It slows your ego quite a bit. So when I did it this time, I was more analytical about it and more understanding of what exactly I wanted to create, why I wanted to create it, and what would be the end result. Like when I would get to my goal and then I would need praise. I would be like, okay, tell me how good I'm doing. Tell me how amazing I am. Tell me. And for about 6 months, everybody will be like, oh, you're great. Congratulations. You look great. And then after that, it's what you look like. So nobody cares. They're like, congratulations, good for you. What about my needs? And then I would find myself going, oh, I don't have the praise. So I would self-sabotage, start drinking again, eating again, doing whatever, because I realized I needed that attention. So I realized there was a greater character flaw, deeper back from the alcohol and anything else. That was my belief. That's where the belief came from. If I didn't truly believe that I was worthy of it and could accomplish it, then why was I setting anything in motion to make it happen?
So are you afraid of going back? Like, is this an everyday battle, or you feel like you've conquered it and there's no way you're going back to that?
100% conquered. I am not going back, but I have rebuttal mechanisms, is what we call them, in place. So should I believe at some time in my life something so catastrophic happens that the only way my life will be better or feel better is if I drink? See, it kind of sounds even weird to say, but when you've been an alcoholic, it's paramount sometimes. Then would I have one drink? Would I have two drinks? Would I have three drinks? Would I be able to have one and go, no, this is what I want to do? That's what the rebuttal mechanism is. So until that happens, I don't know. I'm busy living my life. I have an exceptional life, a brilliant relationship. Like, I'm really blessed.
I love
And
hearing
and that came because of this program too. I went back and made sure I was worthy of that whole ego thing. I want this quality and this level of woman. But then when I looked in the mirror, I thought, that guy does not deserve that woman.
that quality of woman at that
So I went back to the drawing board and fixed it.
So what is, if you even have it, like everybody seems to have a vice, or they say this, like, do you now have a vice that you, like, if you're having a tough day?
I had a life of vice. So it's kind
so
of like,
it's kind of
no.
been there, done that, kind of, you've got living to do, as you said.
It's a small form of penance for me. Do you know what I mean? It's like I drive everybody home when we party, right? Just little things like that. So I have a couple of lifetimes of survival to pay up for, so.
And if you were to, without talking about your program and what you do, like just from TJ, if, say, there was someone in the room and they were struggling with alcoholism or their weight, like, what is that one, like, if you could pick one key thing or advice to give them, what would that be?
Never give advice unless asked. That's your ego and your opinion telling them how they should live their life, and that's unacceptable. If they should find out what you've accomplished, or interested in what you've accomplished, or hear what you've accomplished, then at that time you can give some advice, guarded, small, and just say, I have done this, others I've worked with done this, and if you're ever interested in this, we can make it happen. But until they say something,
You don't.
you never, like if someone's drinking or, I had a lady I did a consultation, classic example, and she comes to me and she's standing there in front of me and I said, hi, and she said, hi, and I said, how can I help you today? And she, in fact, I said, how can I make your life amazing? And she said to me,
What makes you think you're going to make
no, she looked at me and looked at her because she's a bigger lady and said, if you can't figure it out, how good at your job can you be? To which I replied, if I was to judge you on one visual alone, that's my ego and society's attitude making a judgment that could have had nothing to do with it. What if you came here because you're depressed? Has nothing to do with your weight. What if you came here because you have anxiety or because you have whatever? And I just came out of nowhere and went, well, you must be here for. And she went, I get it. She says, but honestly, every single place I've been for help starts off with, I can get you there. I'll get you where you want to be. Oh, you could be this. And they're like, she's like, I didn't even ask you for that. That's back to the advice thing. Don't give it unless asked for it.
Wow. So outside of TJ and what you do as your career, if I was to ask you, who is TJ? Like, who are you?
I'm an excessive amount of fun. Last name is Abraham, so I'm a character. I am a free and exciting individual who can walk into a dead room and create a party. I have overcome a lot of things as far as shy and stuff like that. I know they don't really go together.
No, they don't.
But it's like once you get the train rolling, I'm going. But until you get the train going, it usually would take a while and things like that. I have an amazing life. Like I said, I have an exceptional relationship that, like I said, started when I went back and thought, well, I would like this quality of woman. And then my brain went, yeah, but you're not that quality of man. So, okay.
Well, how honest that you could see yourself like that, right? Like a lot of people aren't able to even get there. So
I have the relationship I've always wanted. I have an exceptional partner. I think everything about our relationship is about enhancement, not control. And we went out in the 90s. Here's a classic example of change as a human being. We went out in the 90s, and neither of us we were sure that neither of us was ready. And then 4.5 years ago, 4 years ago.
You got back together?
Yeah. So
Interesting. That was meant to be.
it was meant to be.
And you were both ready for
Yes.
it, probably, right?
Yes.
And that's probably why it is as exceptional as you say it is. So, okay, next question.
Okay.
Every single person that you have met throughout your life, dead or alive, all in the same room, if you could only talk to one of them, who would you look for?
Always easy. My grandfather.
Really?
I was an only I'm one of 27 grandchildren. I was the only grandchild for 4.5 years. So I got extra grandpa time. My mom and I lived with them. So he was, in my mind, to this day, a legend. Raised 9 kids on a grade 3 education, a total man of honor, total man of class, very simple, very direct. But if you could aspire to be that quality of individual, I don't think anything could stop you.
How long did you know him for? Like, how long has
How long was he alive for?
Yeah.
Till I was about 38.
Okay.
He went through 2 years. They weren't sure what had happened, but he wouldn't speak to anybody but me. So it made it very difficult because I wasn't living in Saskatoon. He was living there. I was out in BC. And so they would call me all the time. And he would sit there for days and not talk to anybody. And then he would get on the phone and he would say, "There's my kid." And he would start talking to me. So I would have a paper full of questions that I had to ask him.
From everybody.
Yeah, because he'll ask me, he won't talk to them. From who knows why. And then about 2
Right.
years went by and then he just started talking to everybody again. So I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, he just shut down and, right? Wasn't catatonic, but he wasn't vocal. He wasn't moving. He wasn't anything. So
Do you feel he's with you all the time? or-
always.
Yeah.
Accountability.
Accountability. Right.
He made a statement. We were fishing one day and he poked me in the chest and he told me very little. And he said that always remember that you're accountable for everything in that shirt.
Oh.
And I thought, what a weird thing to say. And now as I've grown older, I'm like, doesn't matter the shirt, you're accountable for everything in that shirt.
So I know that you've gone through some health issues. You want to talk about that? Like,
Sure.
where are we at? Like, how are you doing?
Diagnosed with cancer 3.5 years ago. That's what this is. It was supposed to be this long.
Didn't even notice it.
50, yeah. Well, that's because my surgeon was a legend.
I didn't even
Yeah,
see it.
what had happened is if you look at it, he folded it into the natural line of my face. But yeah, they went from the bottom of my ear to the middle of my neck. When you see the pictures of it, it looked like someone tried to, decapitate me.
So how did that, like, what went through your mind when you were diagnosed with that? And
Nothing.
nothing?
I've lived about 3 lives at this point. So I kind of figured that I was reaching a point where you got to go. Right?
you just
Everybody
were at
in my
peace.
life knew who they were. I had, because a couple years before because of what I was creating, I had gone through my world and apologized, tried to mend fences, because I had done some horrible things, right? Tried to mend fences, mended the ones I could, and expressed to the ones who would have nothing to do with it, which I learned, one of the things I learned was that forgiveness is something that you have to go through with honor and stuff like that, but it doesn't mean people have to accept it. You've harmed them, you've disrespected them, you've whatever. They're like, yeah, you're doing that for you. I don't forgive you. So that was one of the things I learned as I was doing it. So yeah, it was 3.5 years. I went through radiation, all that kind of stuff, and then it was done.
And do you feel that that experience too has like changed you? Or again, you just seem like you're kind of like next. You're just like, okay.
I used to hang out with a group of individuals, probably about 13 of us. There's 3 of us left.
Oh.
So
you
get to a point, and I for a while when I really hit rock bottom, I was second guessing everything. Why am I here? Like, why am I here? And this individual who had kids and things like that killed himself. Why am I here when this individual who had a great wife and this great world OD'd? Why am I here? Like OD'd trying to keep up with me. Like when you're doing so many things that people are dying. You go to pick up your friend the next day and he's dead. You would think that kind of stuff scares you, but nothing scares me anymore, right? Now I have so much to live for. I went from being almost a hermit to being with the woman I'm with now, and she's got a family of 10. We got triplet nephews. We got
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's crazy. You go from maybe
You got
seeing
a full life.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I'm an honorary triplet, is what they tell me.
Really?
Yeah. And if you say to them, does that mean there's quadruplets? They get really, no. There's us and Uncle T.
There's you.
Yeah, that's what it is. So it's kind of a badge of honor. They come to my house all the time and they'll stay for a couple days and we play round robin games and I created a tournament for them and darts and 7 other games and yeah.
Okay, so if you were able to give someone, if they'd asked for the advice, how to be more authentic, what would be something that you would say to someone?
I think authenticity has a great deal to do with how you believe yourself to be, how you see yourself, right? If you're strong in who you are and believe in what you bring to the table of life, then being authentic is easy because you're not trying to impress people. You're not trying to, I need to impress those people or I need to impress these people. You're just enjoying your life, right? So we did one of those things, a joke called Law of 33s. So in a 100-person room, some love you, 33 love you, 33 like you, 33 don't care, and one guy's in the wrong room. If you're authentic, that number will never change. Okay? If you're not authentic, the number varies. So you'll change for whatever reason. There are 33 people in that room that love Sabina just the way she is. And then all of a sudden someone gets you to do something, change your personality, change whatever's going on. So the people that loved you just the way you are, now just like you.
So do you believe, so I'm going to just question that for a sec. So I feel like I'm authentic every day of my life, and there's still people that would be in that room that don't like me for their own reason.
But that's what I mean. Love you, like you, and don't care.
Okay. So
right?
You're saying that number wouldn't change.
You watch. If you change, maybe some of the ones that don't like you or don't care might go all over,
got it.
right?
Okay,
might create a visual, and some that just like you, now all of a sudden you've raised yourself up to the level they deem you worthy, and they love you. I caught people doing that as I removed weight, because I had a whole group of friends that would talk to me when I was really lean and shredded, and a whole group of friends that would talk to me when I was 287.
It's interesting, isn't
right?
it?
You would think there would be no difference, but there was. They weren't really friends. That's what I really discovered, right? And then as I got closer and closer to being the most authentic me, it slowly but surely, they just, one by one, they just dropped off. All the people doing drugs obviously didn't want anything to do with me. All the people with violence didn't want anything to do with me. Alcohol, they sometimes want to do with me. And sometimes when you change your life this much, it causes 2 waves. It's one wave of like, oh yeah, but I know who he used to be. And the other one is, I kind of don't want him around because he makes me feel like I'm not up on my game.
Right. You end up triggering people, right? Because they're looking at you going, well, he's changing his life, but I'm not ready to change mine. And oh my God, something's wrong with me because I'm not doing what he's doing, right? But it really has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the way you're making them feel. So
that's why all my first conversations with anybody are you an independent spirit with free will? And if they go, what? Are you one of a kind? Yeah, you are. Are you the one making your decisions? And if those are the things that are possible, then we can move forward. And if they're not, there's no need in us moving forward.
So what would you tell someone that tends to be really influenced by other people?
Why are they more important than you? Why is their opinion more important than your opinion? Why have you given them such a prestigious place in your life? And then why do you allow those people that you give prestige and respect to be detrimental and disrespectful? Accountability, again. If I said something to you that offended you, what would you say to me?
The now Sabina?
See, watch your head. See your head move? You're like, I'm coming for you.
Yeah, the now Sabina would be like, hey, I'm not okay with what you just said.
There it is.
The old Sabina would be like, oh my God, I was like crying in a corner and like just be like, oh my God, like maybe I am that. Like I would take your words and change. It's like putting on this outfit. And if I feel fantastic and you walked in and said, oh, Sabine, like that doesn't work. I used to change and I used to be so bothered. And I went from feeling really good about what I was wearing and what I was feeling, and I gave your words that much power, taking the power back.
Yes.
Right? That's what I want younger versions of myself or younger women that are watching this to learn, is that don't give your power away so easily. Like, it's just not like, I feel like even in relationships, we tend to put our partner up on a pedestal, or the person we're dating. And then when they aren't on that pedestal and they disappoint you, because everyone will end up disappointing you, you're like, shit, they're no different than I. Like, why was I putting them way up here when we're equal?
But that's why I think it should be about enhancement, not control.
Right.
That the thing you're talking about, this thing, is about control. Whereas enhancement is about, I want to be the most unbelievable me I can be. And I want you to be the most unbelievable you can be. So the end result becomes, we're a force to be reckoned with, right? And then it also alleviates, when you have that kind of strength, it alleviates stuff like jealousy and all sorts of things, because it doesn't matter what another woman would say or do or act towards me. I'm like, I'm really taken. And that's my joke. They're like, what? I go, like, I'm really taken. Like, here's taken, I'm really taken.
I love
right?
that.
Because I sat down with my friends, okay, you'll like this, because I was insecure and all this stuff. So when I changed my life, I sat down with a piece of paper and I wrote out all the things that she needed to be. That was when I told you, when I went, oh my, I'm not worthy of this woman. But I thought, well, I got something to shoot for. How tall she had to be, because I'm not very tall. I like to go dancing. So if she's gonna wear a high heel or a heel or something, I don't wanna look like her baby brother. Great fit, right? Real powerful. I like driven, outspoken. I like you to have your own power and your own dynamic. I don't want you to be a sheeple to my strength. I don't want you to do that. I want you to call me on things. I want you to make me accountable and all that stuff. And I wrote it all down. And friends of mine were at my house and saw the page and they were like, wow, who do you think you are? And I went, well, I'll be alone. And I was alone probably about just over 6 years. I went on a couple of horrible dates after a horrible separation, and then it didn't work. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to fix what's going on. And then my exact statement was, I know what I want. And when I do all the things I'm supposed to do, and the powers that be deem me worthy, they'll bring her to me. And they did. And all my friends went,
oh my God, right?
And now they've met her, and they're like, that is so bizarre. So now they're all doing the same thing.
Of course, right?
Right?
Put it out there.
Yeah.
Manifest it.
Tell the world what you want.
So
But
when
you have
a
to stand
man,
up for it.
You do. When a guy actually says he wants a strong woman, do you guys actually really want a strong woman? Because I don't actually buy that. Like, I'm not going to say that I don't believe you, but a lot of men say they want a strong woman, but then when they get a strong woman, they don't know how to handle us.
I find that in me, it's perfect, because I can't have, like I said, I can't have sheeple in my life. It doesn't work for me, especially as a partner, right? You can't just let me run roughshod over you and do whatever I want. That's not going to work. But if you, it's pretty quick. Like, powerful women can weed out a weak man without even blinking their eyes, right? 4 conversations in. Does he hold a chair? Does he hold a door? Does he have a conversation? Does he pick me up? Is he on time? Is he respect? There's a list of things that women will run through their mental Rolodex and let you know.
Yeah. I got to stop compromising on that list.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my question to you. Why would you compromise?
I don't know. Good question. And you're not interviewing me. I'm interviewing you.
Okay, but the reasons for compromise are geared around your belief you are less than something.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think it's we don't see our worthiness at times. And I honestly didn't in my last relationship. Like, I really allowed this man to like walk all over me and do things that I wouldn't put up with now. But I did, because I didn't see my worth.
Now you do.
Now I do. But you've got to go through all those life lessons to get to
Absolutely.
this point where you're like, yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm not putting up with that. Okay, I could compromise on that. But no, and I would want them to do the exact same thing. So.
But when you stand your ground, when you demand something, right? You demand a certain behavior. You demand to be spoken to, treated, acted upon, whatever your situation is, in a certain manner with a certain level of excellence. And when that level is not met, the first time it's not met, speak your mind. Don't be like, oh, he's having a bad day, or I'm having a bad day, or, okay, but if I'm having a bad day, I go home, and who makes my day better?
Your partner.
Right?
Yeah.
She's
you,
home.
right?
And she knows. She's like, you know what? Nope, I'm not even going to talk to him. He came in and there was smoke flying out of his ears. I'm just going to leave him alone. It's not one of those, oh, do you need anything? No. She's like, waited, and she's like, okay. Then she kind of roams in and kind of looks at me and she says, what happened? And I tell her. And I never bring anything to the house, nor do I take anything from the house.
Gotcha. So, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Catastrophic things going on. I don't come here and go, oh, Sabina, I'd like to have a great interview, but all this is going on and all this drama in my life.
You just leave it at the door.
Yeah, it's at the door. It'll still be there when I leave.
Exactly.
Right? So there's no need to bring it in here, and there's no need to do that stuff in relationships either.
Wow. Okay. Like that just flew by, like every single interview I've had. But I do want to do one last thing with you, but I need you to close your eyes.
Okay.
Okay. Don't open them until I tell you to. And I want you to tell me the first word that comes to mind. Okay. Open.
TJ. Amazing, legendary, spectacular, good all-round guy.
Love it. Love it. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Let's get